Okay, let us turn to page 25. At the Heart Sutra Mantra, page 25. We'll recite this 7 times together. Those of us who already know this, will recite together, and those of us who are hearing this for the first time, you listen to us and then will join us. The meaning of this mantra is very simple. It simply means, literally it means go beyond, go utterly beyond, and establish your enlightenment. The Artha means, here is thus, Om, same as this morning. Gati means go. Paragate is go beyond. Parasangate, go still beyond or go utterly beyond. Bodhiswaha, establish your enlightenment, establish your ultimate aspiration, establish your ultimate happiness. Okay, so now that we are already introduced to this morning's class, so this mantra will make sense. All these mantras, which is on page 25, mantra which is on page 25, what it's saying is, say the gate, para samgate, Buddha says, go utterly beyond, go beyond and go utterly beyond, and establish your enlightenment or establish your ultimate happiness. So what it is saying, the state that we are in now is not really pleasant. It is full of dissatisfactions, limitations, problems, and so forth. And yet this is not your true nature. This is not your true nature. Your true nature is so pure. Instead of dissatisfaction, it is just vast, expansive, the state of the joy, peace, tranquility, compassion, wisdom. But why we don't manifest it now is because that this true nature is mixed with the soil of the mental defilements. So we have to undergo a journey of cleansing, the mental defilement. So gate means go from the state of imperfection to the state of perfection, state of unhappiness to the state of happiness, state of ignorance to the state of wisdom. This is the connotation. So with this in mind, and of course to go into still more detailed explanation, this is not as simple as I said. Each of these, they refer to a very specific state of a mind. Gate, part, the 5 parts. Part of accumulation, the first gate. Second gate, part of preparation. The third, paragate, part of seeing. Parasangate, part of meditation. Bodhiswaha, part of normal learning. And what these 5 parts are, we have to study them very detailed. Okay, so we'll recite this together. Meanwhile, it should be reminded for us that, okay, now that I've learned about what is the meaning of be kind to myself and be wisely kind to myself by embracing the 3 principal parts. So how? By embracing the 3 principal parts, then I will start to remove my mental defilements. In the process, I go to a state of impure to the greater purity, a state of suffering to a state of happiness. This isn't the meaning, and this is not to be taken as poetically. This is literally what it happens, and if you're wise, this is literally what we can make it happen, to see that you are becoming happier, and happier. And say that to see whether this is really happening, we can't really are not to expect some kind of miracle happening. The real miracle is as you become older, from age 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 to 70, as you grow older, if your mind, if somehow we tend to, particularly crossing 40, right, in 40s, 30, say late 30s, hitting 40s, we still think that we're young. And the younger ones in age 20s, they will kick you out. Right? I'm young, so. But they know that you are not in that category. We think that we are in the country. So then they kick you out. Then age 50, around 50, late 40s, 50, people say that grandfather, grandmother, which means you are thrown out. So there, if you tend to miss your youth, oh no, now I'm kicked out. If you tend to miss your youth, which means that we have not been following this journey, gate, para samgate, bodhiswa. Whereas, as you grow older, your mind becomes happier, happier, happier. Which means that you are actually undertaking this journey, gate, para samgate, bodhiswa. You become happier, happier, happier. People around you, they just feel like coming to you. Earlier, the people, they tend to run away from you. Now, because of following this path, the three principal paths, you become happier yourself, and then your compassion grows, your wisdom grows, and people around you, they start to seek shelter under you. So when that happens, you are really undertaking a great journey of joy, journey of happiness. Okay, with this mind, let's recite this mantra. Deyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Okay, we're on page 50, three principal aspects of the path, or the three principal paths. Stanza 4, we are reading the fourth line. Reverse attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of karma and its effects and the miseries of samsara. Page 50, stanza 4, line 4. If we reach the point of the reflection as indicated in stanza 4, then the tendency is that the real renunciation will come to us, not just the reverse attraction to this life, but the real renunciation, wanting to wake up from the sleep of ignorance, will come to us. Sometimes, when we think about, say, the larger picture in space, a larger picture in time, larger picture in space, like, for example, how the NASA company does. You may watch the NASA company's documentary films, where you see that first they show you just for the edge a leaf. And then on the zoom out, from there you see the whole bush. Then you see the whole, the small, the place, then the country, then the planet Earth, then the solar system, then the Milky Way galaxy, and then the vast expanse of the space between the galaxies. You go like this. Some people, not all, some people, when they really watch this, you get a feeling as though like, I'm so insignificant in this world. Even this whole world becomes like a tiny dot. Tiny dot, and in the face of the Milky Way galaxy, it's just not even a dot. It disappears. And then keep in mind the bigger picture of the whole universe. Nowhere in this vast expanse of the space there, it disappears. Where am I? If this Earth is not to be visible there, even the whole solar system is not visible there, where am I? I'm so insignificant. And some people, when they reflect on that, the larger picture of the space, then at times they feel so like they feel so low. Okay, gloominess, low. Okay, so it has good sides and bad side. If you are able to see that, if you're able to tackle it nicely, this can greatly take us to a very profound experience of renunciation. Whereas if we cannot tackle it nicely, which means that we don't have a proper learning of these three principles of the paths, it can take you to, say, the feeling of a little bit of the depression and so forth. It's quite dangerous. Okay, so there we really need help and the support of the practitioners and so forth. One time when I was very young, in my early 20s, maybe like 20 or 21, I set for my personal retreat, particularly on impermanence retreat. So they're just within 6-7 days, then the whole thing, because of the constant reflection, meditation on impermanence of things, the whole room seems to be like vibrating like this, so scary. It was so overwhelming. Then I left the retreat. I stopped the retreat, went to see my teacher, and my teacher was a little surprised. He said, "Dorji, what happened? You're supposed to be sitting for retreat for 2 months, and now you just came out after 1 week. What happened?" Then I narrated the episode. Then he said, "Okay." So because I'm so lucky that my teacher, he was a lifelong retreatant. So he listened to me. He sensed where I was going wrong. It was not really wrong. It's so precious. But the wrong part was that I stopped it because I was so overwhelmed. And luckily, because my teacher was there, he gave me further instructions, and it was extremely, extremely beneficial. So what I'm saying is that when you think like this in space, the infinity in time, infinity in space, at times we can feel so insignificant, and then the feeling of wanting to renounce from samsara can come to us. Very strong feeling can come to us, and no matter where you are in samsara, this is the insignificance what I am is just so insignificant. This is wherever in samsara is just the same. Whether this life, next life, whether the kings, queens, or the pauper, or just the ordinary, the commoner, or somebody very significant, as long as we don't wake up from the sleep of ignorance, it's just the same, right? It's just a matter of time. Some people they go through this illness. Some people they go through the aging. Some people they go through the youth at the moment. It's just a matter of time. Everybody just go through the same cycle: sickness, aging, death, sickness, aging, death. Just it's endless story. So this is what we can feel. Okay, so this is extremely important. And if it does happen to you, in terms of experience, in terms of time, for example, say that sometimes we read the history and you look at for example, Jerusalem is amazing, the vivid example, living example there of the time like 3,000. The history of Jerusalem, how many years? 4,000, 5,000, 3,000, right? All these, how many stacks of history are there? Whole Jerusalem, the 3 layers are there. It's just a history, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. So it's where all these people, right? Not only Jerusalem, all over the world. So while it's happening in Jerusalem, at the same time, in this world, there must be minimum like 3 billion beings, human beings, those days. Today is 7 billion human beings. Those days, what is happening in Jerusalem, here, at the same time on planet Earth, if not like 3 billions, maybe 1 billion, where are they now? Right? Not even a single person is left today. And to go back in time, 0.3 million years ago, 0.3 million years ago, the Homo sapiens came into being. Where are those beings? They're all gone. And then go back in time, 15 billion years ago, Big Bang. Right? You go back in time. What is today? 100 years. What is 100 years? How many of you are going to live 100 years? We don't have any assurance. 100 years, if somebody is to live like 100 years, oh, it's amazing. But 100 years is nothing as compared to 15 billion years. In the past, 15 billion years in the future is nothing. It's just like a speck of a dust disappearing at a vast expanse of time. Okay, this is reality. So with this reflection, you may feel a little bit of feeling low and meaningless and so forth. If it does happen, I'm saying this again, that it is so, you are very fortunate. So we can employ this, we can use this to really look for a greater meaning, to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. Because all this feeling of insignificance, all this feeling of the meaninglessness, wherever you are in time and space, is all because at the ground is the self-grasping ignorance. Ignorance is the air. So with this feeling of the insignificance, being overwhelmed by this, and then you realize that, okay, if I go on a holiday, this problem will be over. No, for you. No, holiday, wherever is, no holiday there. No holiday place there. Every way is the same, right? There's no one place where people believe Shambhala. Where if you take birth, then you are free from aging. That's a story. There's a fairy tale. There's a fairy tale. The Buddha said all composite things are impermanent. This is a reality. All, not all except for Shambhala. This is not the reality. The Buddha said very clearly, all composite things are impermanent. This is a fact. So with this, no matter where we go, unless the self-grasping ignorance is going to reach off, it's just the same story, right? Whether you eat the falafel, falafel inside is also made of potato. Potato, French fries also potato, right? Boiled potato is also potato, right? Or just kind of, if you're fed up with potato, whatever kinds of potato you see is potato. So wherever in time and space you see is samsara, right? Say the charge of a president today, presidents, the prime ministers, also samsara. They also have sickness, aging, death, right? And the charge of Bill Gates, same sickness, aging, death, right? A pauper, a renowned president, prime minister, whatever, right? It's all just sickness, aging, and death. So is there a state where I'll be free from all these? Answer is yes, right? Only if you think of this from a larger picture in time and space, then you'll see that wherever you are in space and time, it's just the same. It's just a matter of time. It's just the same. So the feeling of renunciation, wanting to wake up from the sleep of ignorance, so that I don't have to go through these processes once more, sickness, aging, death, and so forth, once more. That is the wisest person. Okay, so this is meaning of renunciation, wanting to reach a state whereby I'll be totally freed from sickness, aging, and death. Otherwise, no matter what, in space, in time, I take birth, it's just subject to sickness, aging, and death. Okay, this is what a very profound conclusion comes to us. This is the meaning of the renunciation. With that in mind, let's see how to think about how can this bigger picture come to us. Is only by thinking about line 4 of the stanza 4, page 15. Reverse attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of karma and its effects and the miseries of samsara. Okay, so what we learned this morning? That we dream. First of all, who created this dream? Hey, who created the dream? Our own mind. We ourselves created the dream. A dream of being in the monash hall and somebody sat there, showed you a mobile. Wow, iPhone X. What wow is your mental creation? Right? You created this and you're unaware that you created this. And then you say, wow, mobile iPhone X. And I want to have it. And the other said, no, I said it. And you start fight, and the prison, the poor mother comes. And then you say, okay, Mom, I'm very sorry, I did a stupid thing today. You didn't do anything, it's just mental creation. Right? The only stupid thing that we did is that we created this dream, and we are unaware that we created this. We forgot that we have created this dream. This is the stupid thing that we did. And this stupidity is with us for how long? How many hours a day? 24 hours it happens, right? We continue to project things like this. 24 hours. We are unaware that our mind is projecting this. Okay, this is what we're going to learn tomorrow. You getting it? Okay. So the point is that with this what happens? First we create the dream. Then the dream, the pleasant, unpleasant parts are created. With the pleasant, we chase after this. With the unpleasant, you run away from this. So involuntary pull and push happens. You getting it? You getting it? First, the dream is created by you. Your mind creates the dream. And within the dream, the quality, the contents are created. What contents? Pleasant dreams, unpleasant dreams. With the pleasant dreams, what happened? Your mind chases after that. Yes, no? Okay, particularly the cheesecakes, then you chase after that. Right? And then unpleasant things, your mind runs away from that. So the cheesecakes, pleasant dreams, involuntary push happens, pull happens. Involuntary pull happens. Then the unpleasant dreams, involuntary push happens. There's nobody pushing you and pulling you. And yet, you cannot refrain from this. You're involuntarily pushed and pulled by the dream which your mind created, and you forgot that you created this. So, that thing, involuntary pull and push, that is, what is better? Somebody grabs you from your chest and then pushes you and pulls you like this. Is better, or that somebody, hey, behave yourself, get out. And the person stops, which is better? Somebody grabs you and pull and push like this, you will say human rights, no human rights, right? And then somebody actually helps to remove the person, hey, behave yourself, don't bully this person. Which is better? Second one. So the freedom from the involuntary pull and push, this is the real freedom. So otherwise, the pleasant dreams, they pull you. And we think that I like it. No, it's actually involuntary pull. Cheesecake, I like it. Right? And then it makes us fat. And yes, we say that we put it very nicely, I like it. No, it's involuntary pull. Then the rotten cheesecake, I don't like it, it's rotten, it's expired, it pushes you. So this involuntary pull and push, this is a loss of freedom, this is samsara. So when will this come to an end? When will this come to an end? When you wake up, right? When you wake up, the dream cheesecake cannot pull you. The dream expired cheesecake cannot push you. pull and push, involuntary pull and push stops. That is the greatest of freedom. Freedom from involuntary pull and push. This is nirvana. Okay, so therefore, the point is with this, but the moment you create this, then the involuntary pull and push starts. With this involuntary pull and push, then actions are created, karmas are created. Karmas are created. So it says that by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of the karmas and its effects, say karmas meaning the actions, physical, verbal and mental actions, and actions are of three kinds, physical, verbal and mental, and these actions, broadly speaking, say one action, a set of actions which are responsible for giving rise to pains in the future. Another set of actions responsible for giving rise to happiness in the future. So those actions responsible for giving rise to pains, we call them as, conventionally we call them as non-virtuous karmas. And those actions which are responsible for giving rise to happiness, we call them as virtuous karmas. There's no intrinsic, inherent, say the karma to, oh, this is virtuous, this is non-virtuous. No. The set of actions responsible for giving rise to miseries, this is non-virtuous karma. Set of karmas giving rise to happiness, virtuous karmas. Okay, so with the virtuous karmas will never give rise to miseries. With the non-virtuous karmas will never give rise to happiness. If you know this reality, in a life, say the physical, verbal, mental actions that we engage in, how many times we engage in the virtuous and non-virtuous karmas? Both. You agree with me? We engage in both virtuous and non-virtuous. We constantly accumulate karmas. And the karmas, effects are bound to be there. So, and say the karmas, when somebody says that, when somebody is a little nasty towards you, agitation comes, anger arises. With the anger, finish. Negative karmas are created. And negative karmas, the consequences, sickness, aging, death, and all these problems. Okay, so we see that the karmas, how many such karmas are accumulating in our life, in the former lifetimes, is innumerable. So with these innumerable karmas, the wisest thing to do is, how can we make these, let's say, the karmic operations in the dream stop? You wake up. If you don't wake up, karmas are constantly accumulated and the effects are constantly going to be produced in the form of ripples, endless ripples. So, infallibility of karmas and its effects, as long as we're in samsara, karmas are constantly being accumulated, and because of which constantly the effects, sickness, aging, death, loss of near and dear ones, it's just endlessly appears. And then, so because of these, the effects of the karmas in our life, so we see that we speak about the success of the life, we speak of the youth, success, wealth, and so forth. But after all, they all will come to end with the exhaustion of the wealth, exhaustion of the youth, and exhaustion of the life. This is the final story. So, it sees that the miseries of samsara, the sickness, aging, death, and so forth, when you think about these points, the reality of the life, we see that the reality of life reflects very profoundly what we discussed this morning. One moment of the miseries of the life is good enough to nullify all the past experiences of happiness. This is very true. And then when you reflect on this point, when you get to this point, some people, what they tend to do is that, some people, they then tend to lose hope of their life. This is one extreme. Whereas the wiser people, okay, so this is what life is finally. So therefore, there's no point in, let's say, having a total obsession to this life. There's no point. Total obsession to the next life. Again, no point, because the biography of my life is sickness,